I didn't believe someone could live inside a house without the owners knowing. Not until it happened to me. And even now, years later, knowing. Not until it happened to me. And even now, years later, I still sleep with every light in my apartment turned on. Because once you realize how easy it is for someone to watch you without being seen, you never really feel alone again. This happened in October of 2023. At the time I was 28 and living alone in northern Pennsylvania in a rental house just outside a small town called Briar's Ridge. It was the kind of place where nothing ever happened. One grocery store, one gas station, endless woods surrounding everything. I worked remotely doing IT support for a medical software company, so isolation didn't really bother me. Honestly, I preferred it. I liked quiet places. The house itself was old but cheap. 2 stories, narrow hallways, floorboards that popped when you walked too hard. The landlord told me it had been vacant for almost a year before I moved in. I should have asked why. The first month there was normal. Then the noises started. At first it sounded like settling, soft creaks at night, occasional thumps overhead. Nothing unusual for an old house. But around mid-October things got specific. Not random noises, movement, footsteps, slow ones, always after midnight. I remember the first night clearly because I was on a late gaming session with my friend Marcus over Discord. Around 1:30 a.m., I heard footsteps directly above me. Marcus heard them through my microphone. "Dude," he said, "who's upstairs?" I muted for a second and listened. 3 slow steps, then silence. I laughed it off. "Old house," I told him. But the thing was, there wasn't much upstairs. Just an empty guest bedroom and a storage room. I hadn't even unpacked half the boxes up there. The footsteps happened again the next night. And the night after that. Always between 1 and 3 a.m. Always slow, never running, never pacing, just walking, like someone wandering carefully through the upstairs hallway. I finally got irritated enough to check. I grabbed my phone flashlight and went upstairs around 2 a.m. after hearing the footsteps again. The hallway was empty, guest room empty, storage room empty, windows locked, nothing. But when I started heading back downstairs, I noticed something strange. The storage room door was open. I knew I'd closed it. I stood there staring at it for a second. Then I convinced myself I was being paranoid and shut it again. I should have looked inside more carefully. A week later, things escalated. I started noticing tiny things moved around the house. Kitchen cabinets left slightly open. Bathroom light on when I knew I'd turned it off. A cereal box missing from the pantry. Again, I rationalized all of it. Until the night I found the hatch. I was cleaning the storage room upstairs because I planned on turning it into an office. The room smelled weird. Not bad exactly. Just stale. Like trapped air. I moved an old cardboard box against the wall and noticed scrape marks on the floor underneath. That's when I saw the small wooden panel. It was about 2 feet wide, built low into the wall near the floor. At first I thought it led to plumbing access or something. There was no handle, just a narrow gap. I crouched down and pulled. The panel opened inward. Behind it was darkness, and a smell, a horrible human smell. Sweat, rotting food, body odor. My stomach tightened instantly. I lifted my flashlight and pointed it inside. The space was narrow, maybe 3 feet tall, stretching between the walls of the house. A crawl space. And inside it, there were blankets, food wrappers, water bottles, and a pillow. Someone had been living in there. Recently. I backed away so fast I nearly fell over. I remember my whole body going cold. There's a very specific fear that hits you when you realize a stranger has been inside your home while you slept. Not burglary, not trespassing, living there, watching you. I called the police immediately. 2 officers came about 20 minutes later. They searched the crawl space with flashlights and found more stuff deeper inside. Canned food, empty soda bottles, a bucket. And the worst part, a small vent grate looking directly into my bedroom. One of the officers looked at me and said, "You need to stay somewhere else tonight." I didn't argue. I packed a bag and stayed at a motel in town. The police told me they believed it was probably a transient person using the crawl space for shelter. But something about it didn't sit right with me. Because whoever it was hadn't stolen anything valuable. No electronics missing. No money taken, just food. And they clearly wanted to stay hidden. The next day, my landlord sealed the crawl space entrance completely. New wood paneling, screws, industrial adhesive. Problem solved. At least that's what I thought. 3 nights later, I woke up at 2:11 a.m. to a sound directly outside my bedroom door. Breathing. Slow breathing. At first I thought I was dreaming. Then I heard the floor creak. Someone was standing in the hallway. I froze. Every instinct told me not to move. The hallway light was off, but I could see the faint outline of feet beneath my bedroom door. Bare feet. I grabbed my phone silently. No signal, which made no sense because I always had signal there. The footsteps didn't move. Whoever it was just stood there, listening, and then slowly, the doorknob began to turn. I can still remember the sound, that tiny metallic click. The door opened about an inch before stopping against the laundry basket I'd left behind it earlier that night. The person on the other side pushed gently once, then stopped. I couldn't breathe. My baseball bat was leaning beside the bed, but I was too terrified to move toward it. Then the door slowly closed again. The footsteps retreated down the hallway. A few seconds later, I heard something above me. Inside the ceiling. Moving. That's when I snapped out of it. I grabbed the bat, ran to my car barefoot, and drove straight to the police station. This time, officers searched the entire property thoroughly. They found something hidden behind insulation in the attic. Photographs, dozens of them, pictures of me. Sleeping on the couch, cooking, playing games at my desk. One photo showed me asleep in bed taken from only a few feet away. The timestamps went back months. There was also a notebook. Most of it was unreadable rambling, except for one repeated sentence, written over and over across multiple pages. He doesn't know I'm here. He doesn't know I'm here. He doesn't know I'm here. The police finally identified the man 2 days later. He was a drifter named Alan Mercer, history of mental illness, prior arrests for trespassing and burglary, no fixed address. Apparently he'd been secretly living in vacant homes for years. But here's the part that still ruins my sleep. The officers believed he'd still been inside the house during the first police search, hidden somewhere they missed, listening to us, watching us, waiting for them to leave. I moved out immediately, left half my furniture behind, didn't care. For months afterward, I barely slept. Every tiny noise made me panic. I installed cameras everywhere, checked closets constantly. Eventually, things got better. Not normal, but manageable. Then came the package. No return address. Just a small padded envelope sitting outside my apartment door almost 8 months later. Inside was a photograph. Me. Taken through my current apartment window. Recent. On the back, written in shaky handwriting. You moved too fast this time. Police never found him. And I never stayed in one place longer than a year after that.